Oh my God, guys, we have one of the best fights of the year coming up in Lerone Murphy versus Movsar Evloev, and we are not going to let the fact that the rest of this card feels like a UFC Fight Pass Cage Warriors event distract us from that. This fight is so high level. This fight is such a banger. This fight is more close than I think anyone's given it credit for. Everyone said Movsar Evloev is just going to go in there and wipe out Lerone Murphy, make it look easy, but I am not so sure. As always, this is Hard Takes MMA, coming in here to give you the most full bias. The most full biased takes in the game, bro. But this one's pretty unbiased. I'm not a huge fan of either of these guys, but I am a huge fan of this fight and this matchmaking. That being said, I definitely do pick favorites, and my favorite in this fight is Lerone Murphy. Now, I want to go ahead and break down both of these guys' fight styles, both these guys' strengths and weaknesses, pros and cons, and drop the official Hard Takes prediction of who I think will win. I'm going to break down a couple other fights in this card. Without any further ado, let's go ahead and start breaking down my boy, Lerone Murphy. Now, Lerone Murphy is only my boy because I bet on him to beat Aaron Pico by knockout. I picked knockout by accident. I meant to just bet money lines. I thought it'd be a decision, but he pulled through with that spinning elbow. And bro, breaking down Lerone Murphy, as he is a very elite, very technical striker. Now, I do use the term elite a little loosely here. Now, I think his striking is a bit overhyped, but that being said, he does have, holy shit, my cats are fighting. Did y'all hear that? 1 second. Okay, as I was saying, Lerone Murphy is an elite striker in the sense of his timing and his speed. He's very fast hands, very elite timing. He's very patient. He really waits for the perfect moment to hit him with a big shot, to set up shots, to set up combos. He doesn't get shaken up under pressure. He never has looking rattled in his fights before. And he thinks he can knock out Movsar Evloev. Now, I'm not so sure about that. But he doesn't have that one-hit KO power. He doesn't have that kiss of death in his hands. His elite striking comes from his timing, comes from his speed, comes from his footwork. And I do think because of his footwork, he does have a better chance to win than people are giving him credit for. He's very hard to pressure. And part of Movsar Evloev's game is his ability to pressure. But Lerone Murphy's footwork is so good that it'll be hard to him to get that pressure. He's very good at countering shots, countering takedowns. He's good at winning close rounds. He doesn't panic when taken down. He does have a very good Brazilian jiu-jitsu in the sense to get back up. He does have really good stand-up. And because of that, I don't think he's too worried about getting taken down, which is good because his takedown defense is kind of lacking. And sometimes he can kind of give up control on the ground trying to get up. Or if he does have control on the ground, he'll just give up the control to take the fight back to the feet. He does tend to fight at a slower pace, so maybe that will be to his disadvantage here, but he does fight at that slower pace because how patient he is trying to set up shots. But even though he does fight at a slow pace, he does have very good, very fast footwork. Now, I do think it's kind of bullshit that Lerone Murphy does have to fight again to get the title shot. Kind of same thing with Movsar Evloev. Both of them kind of seem deserving of title shots, or at least more deserving than Diego Lopez got in his second title shot. Now, the reason I think Lerone Murphy specifically is more bullshit is that Movsar Evloev was put in a title eliminator match where the winner is set to fight up Volk, but Movsar Evloev pulled out. Lerone Murphy steps up on short notice, saves the co-main event, wins by, I think, first round knockout. It might have been second round. I can't remember, but he won by an impressive knockout. And then he got skipped over in favor of Diego Lopez getting a rematch after one fight. So I do think that whole thing was bullshit. I do think Lerone Murphy should have gotten this title shot over Diego Lopez got in his second one, but I don't think it matters. I think Lerone Murphy loses to Volkanovski. Same with Movsar Evloev. But as a Volk fan, it would have been nice to see him get another name on his resume instead of Diego Lopez a second time. I really just don't think we need to see that fight. But anyway, let's go ahead and break down Movsar Evloev. Now, Movsar Evloev is an elite wrestler. He's elite takedowns, elite chain wrestling. He's going to get takedown after takedown after takedown. He has elite scrambles. He's very good at holding people down. But that's kind of about it. Now, he doesn't have the best top pressure, which is why I'm saying Lerone Murphy's ability to get up is important here. Because Movsar Evloev's top pressure isn't that good, Lerone Murphy does seem to be very confident in his ability to stand up from the ground. But Movsar Evloev, on top of his wrestling ability, on top of his ground ability, is very durable and very good at sticking to his game plan. Now, Movsar Evloev is particularly good against strikers, which doesn't look to be good for Lerone Murphy, who is a striker. He's very good at controlling rounds. He doesn't really make mistakes, and he's very difficult to finish. Now, kind of the cons of Movsar Evloev is, one, he hasn't fought for a while. He's had a long layoff. His last fight was against Aljamain Sterling in December 2024. We are now in March 2025, so it's been well over a year. About a year and 4 months, I think. Math is hard. Now, one of the biggest cons in Movsar's game is that he doesn't have that killer instinct. He kind of lets opponents hang around in fights. He doesn't really go for finishes, which is why, despite being on this big run he's in the UFC right now, he does not have any finishes. He doesn't really go for a lot of ground and pound. He doesn't really go for a lot of submissions, or at least when he does go for submissions, he doesn't really put everything he has into them. Now, one of his biggest advantages in this fight against Lerone Murphy is the people he's fought, his strength of schedule. His best 3 wins are Aljamain Sterling, Arnold Allen, and short notice Diego Lopez in his UFC debut. That being said, those are 3 very elite wins. Now, Lerone Murphy's best 3 wins are Dan Ige, who Movsar also beat, Josh Emmett, and short notice Aaron Pico. Or wait, he was short notice. Aaron Pico wasn't short notice. But y'all know what I mean. It was Aaron Pico, the Bellator guy, in his UFC debut. Now, Aaron Pico was hyped up to be this huge prospect. He was supposed to win that fight. But obviously, Lerone Murphy knocked him out. Now, the reasons Movsar Evloev could win and his strategy, if I was Movsar Evloev's coach, what I would say is go for the takedown. Be aggressive. That's kind of Movsar Evloev's biggest drawback in this fight. Is since his last fight, the UFC judging has changed a little bit. The UFC judges now don't favor control time. They favor damage. I could see Movsar Evloev having all this control time and not really doing anything with it and still losing rounds if Lerone Murphy causes more damage in the times that it is standing. But he does have better experience against elite fighters, and he does have a favorable matchup being a grappler going against a striker. Why I think Lerone Murphy could win is because Movsar Evloev hasn't fought in a while. Like I said, he could have some octagon rust. And Movsar Evloev doesn't have the best top pressure, and Lerone Murphy does have an elite ability to get up from the ground. And because of that, like I said, I don't think Lerone Murphy is scared of getting takedowns, because I think in his head he can go ahead and get right back up. The new judging scoring criteria does seem to favor damage. So even if Movsar Evloev gets these long periods of control time, if Lerone Murphy lands a couple big shots, causes a big cut on his face, maybe gets a knockdown, I could see them giving rounds to Lerone Murphy, even if Movsar Evloev seemingly was winning for most of those rounds. Honestly, how I think this fight is going to go is I think it's going to be a razor-close decision. I think it's going to go to decision. I don't see them finishing this fight. Both of these guys are kind of decision merchants. Movsar Evloev being more so. Lerone Murphy said he's going to go into this fight being super aggressive, going for the knockout. That being said, I don't think he's going to knock him out. I don't think he's going to be aggressive as he should be, but I think as long as he keeps the fight standing, he gets up from the ground, he lands clean combos, he causes damage, even if he doesn't finish him, as long as he's causing that damage, I do think he's going to win by decision. That's right, my official hard takes pick is Lerone Murphy by decision. Now, I can see Movsar Evloev having all this control time, but not doing anything with it. And because of that, I think that the judges, especially being in a hometown of London crowd for Lerone Murphy, are going to favor him in this matchup. And also the political side of it. You know, the UFC has a lot of events in London coming up soon. Not just London, but like the UK in general, you know what I mean? And who's going to headline all these UK events? I mean, there's Paddy Pimblett, but who knows how long his layoff's going to be. Leon Edwards is on a 3-fight losing streak and going down. Tom Aspinall is out indefinitely with his eye injuries. The UFC needs a new UK star to headline these events. And I think they're going to try to make Lerone Murphy that guy. And I think even if it's a close decision, and Movsar Evloev should win, I think they're going to give it to Lerone Murphy based off damage, based off strikes, based off his ability to get up from the ground and deny submissions, based off Movsar Evloev not doing anything with his control time. I think that everyone online is going to be set yelling robbery for Lerone Murphy when he wins, but I do think Lerone Murphy by decision is how this fight is going to go. But that is my official hard takes pick for that. Moving on to some other fights that I'm excited to see on the card. We have Luke Riley in there. I don't think he should be in the co-main event, but I know a lot of people are excited to see him. I'm not super familiar with Luke Riley, But from the clips I've seen, he does seem to be a fun striker. I think if this was on a numbered card, he would be in the early prelims. So it's kind of shocking to see him in a co-main event. Everyone's acting like he's the next guy. So we'll see how he fights. But a fight that I do want to talk about some more is Michael Venom Page versus Sam Patterson. So first off, Michael Venom Page needs to fire his manager, because why would he accept this fight? Now, I'm actually dropping a video soon about my favorite prospect in each division, and my favorite prospect in the welterweight division is Sam Patterson. So he's my guy. I know a lot about him. And honestly, guys, I'm worried for Michael Venom Page. Now, Michael Venom Page lost to Ian Gary, and I think Sam Patterson is a more aggressive version of Ian Gary. Now, Sam Patterson is known for his elite Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu ability. A lot of people just look at him as a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy, but he has won his last 2 fights by knockout / TKO. His very last fight, he won by standing TKO. Didn't even go to the ground. He always gets hate on everyone because they always pick him to win by submission in their parlays, and then he wins by TKO, and it's like a whole big thing. We did see Sam Patterson get knocked out before, but that was at lightweight. He did move up to 170. His chin is better there. He's bulked up. He's like looks big for the division. Sam Patterson has really clean striking. He hits really hard. Like I said, he has elite Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I think if his game plan is to grapple, he can be a problem for Michael Venom Page. Now, obviously, Michael Venom Page is an elite striker, an elite counter striker, and he could always win by knockout at any time. So I can see this going either way. I don't really plan on betting on this one either, but I am picking Sam Patterson to win. Slight bias. You know, like I said, he's my guy, my favorite prospect. I'm super excited for him to get a ranked fight. I wish it wasn't Michael Venom Page, because Michael Venom Page is so dangerous, but I'm excited for him, and I do think he's going to rise his opportunity. He has really good fight IQ. Michael Venom Page, I just don't even know why they do this fight. It doesn't make sense, you know? Like, why would they bury Michael Venom Page? Why would they bury Sam Patterson? A loss for either of these guys, I feel, is bad. Sam Patterson's a very exciting fighter, and if he just loses this fight, he's going to have to fight a couple more fights before ranked opportunity comes up again. You know, why would they bury him? Why would they bury Michael Venom Page? You know, this fight doesn't make any sense for him. Like, they just had Bruno Ferreira rematch Gregory Rodriguez, which is a fight that no one wanted to see, even though it was super exciting. Why couldn't we do Gregory Rodriguez versus Michael Venom Page? Tell me that fight isn't a fucking banger. It makes so much more sense ranking-wise with Michael Venom Page, I think, being ranked 10 in middleweight. I can't remember. But around there, Gregory Rodriguez, this was 13 at the time, so that fight would have made a lot of sense. Another fight that makes more sense is Gregory Rodriguez versus Roman Dolidze, which is, Roman Dolidze is literally also fighting on this card. So that would have made way more sense. But we do have Michael Venom Page versus Sam Patterson, and I'm worried for Michael Venom Page, because I don't want to see him lose. I think he's so exciting. I want to see him fight these big ranked strikers, but I'm just worried that he's not going to be able to get this done. I think Sam Patterson, if his game plan is to grapple, I think he can dominate in grappling. And I do think if Michael Venom Page is too worried about the takedown threat, then Sam Patterson can land a couple shots. He can crack Michael Venom Page. I don't know how good Michael Venom Page's chin is at 170. Because the more you cut down, the worse your chin is. That's just how it works. There's just less plasma in your head, and the plasma is what protects you from getting knocked out. But I'm not running a degeneracy parlay this week. I didn't feel like researching the whole card and dropping it. You know me, I'll always be placing bets. If you want to see my bets, you know, you can always follow me on socials. But guys, I am super excited to watch Sam Patterson and Michael Venom Page. I'm excited to see what all the hype is about Luke Riley. And I'm excited to watch the banger that is Lerone Murphy versus Movsar Evloev. As always, guys, this is Hard Takes MMA. Comment who you got in this Lerone Murphy versus Movsar Evloev fight. Comment what you think of these guys. I know both these guys get their criticism for being boring, so let me know what you think of them. As always, keep watching the fights and stay hard. Or don't. I don't give a fuck.
Got a private jet, but I stay up in the shadows. Late night in the city, yeah, I'm winning all the battles. I'm a billionaire, boy, go check the tag bracket. Black on black suit, yeah, custom made jacket.